Excellent. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming along to Extinction Rebellion social media training. This is being recorded, so if you missed the start or if you couldn't have a chance to be here with us today, you'll be able to watch the recording. So today, my name is Miriam Robinson. I am in the media team for Victoria. I help out with the Australian Facebook page. I've been involved in Extinction Rebellion Australia pretty much since the start. And prior to that, I've been doing a lot of activism with groups like Galilee Blockade, the Stop Adani crew, the Greens and various people like that. So this is a summary of all the things I've picked up over the last few years about social media, how to do it well. There might be a lot of other people out there who are more expert than I am who can add more to this or know more than I do, but this is everything I've learned, and hopefully it's a good crash course in how to do social media effectively for our actions. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Aboriginal land which was stolen and never ceded. I'm in Ballarat, which is Wathaurong country, and Dja Dja Wurrung country, which is just up the road from Djab Wurrung country. You might have heard some news about the Djab Wurrung trees. Good news that during the week, the Supreme Court of Victoria has put a halt on any further works until at least February. So that's good, always good news. Glad to hear that. Pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. And also that we're in a time of climate emergency, and we pay our respects to all the activists and all the people who are involved, give up their time, their emotions, their hard work to help solve this terribly important problem of climate emergency. So I'm going to get right into it now. If you've got any questions, if you wouldn't mind just holding them until pretty much the end, that'd be great, because we haven't got a lot of time to get through a lot of stuff, and write them in the chat in case you think you might forget them. But we'll get to questions at the end if that's okay. So, comms. As comms people, what is it we're actually trying to do here? So the main purpose of communications with Extinction Rebellion certainly is, number one, most important thing is recruitment. So we need to build a movement of mainstream people. We need to get them to join the rebellion. There's a lot of research that's been done that shows that if you get 3.5% of the population actively involved in any sort of movement, you get change to happen. So it worked with the suffragettes, it worked with the civil disobedience movement, it worked with Gandhi's Indian independence movement. We need, number one, to be recruiting new rebels, okay? And the reason we want to recruit lots of people is so we want to make change happen. We want to move the dial on the urgency. We want to make sure governments get on with it, stop stalling, make sure that people realise there's a climate emergency and join the movement. Okay, so that's our number one, job number one. Job number two, and part of the whole package, is to stir up powerful emotions in people. Okay, so what gets people to actually act is not a great long, huge report with a long list of figures and facts and statistics. The things that make people change are emotions. Okay, the most powerful emotions are love and fear. There's also emotions like sex and hunger, or emotions, feelings like sex and hunger and all those sorts of things back in the deep lizard brain. But with comms, our main aim is to stimulate these feelings of love and fear. So we want people to feel happy. We want them to feel included, inspired, enabled, confident, hopeful. We want them to feel brave, defiant, and angry. We want them to be afraid. A lot of people are already afraid. We want them to be afraid. We want them to realise that it is an emergency, but we don't want to make people feel helpless and that there's nothing they can do. We don't want people to give up and pull the doona over their heads and say, well, there's nothing I can do anyway, right? So we don't want people to be bored, excluded, disempowered, anxious, depressed, So our basic aim most of the time with most of what we're doing is to try to be positive and try to get the message out that we can and we must and we will, and you should join us because we've got love, we have fun, we have a good time. There's a place for you in the rebellion. There's a way for you to be involved. Yes, you're afraid. This is what you do about it. Okay, so frighten them and then tell them what to do. Very important when we're doing any comms is to make sure we've got a call to action going on in there somewhere. Again, with the recruitment, we want people to join, so we want them to be inspired. Okay, so not everyone's going to chain themselves to something or train or glue themselves to the road or anything like that, right? Not everyone's going to do that. But if they see some people doing something very, very brave, that will make them think, oh, well, at least I could go to a march. At least I could turn up to an action. At least I could do something. If those people are prepared to go to these lengths to get arrested, maybe I could at least do something small. And that way you get them on the stepping stones along the way to becoming more and more active, okay? Oh, some sound going on in the background. If you could mute yourself, that'd be great. I think that might be Richard doing that. Never mind.
Sorry.
Oh, you're right, mate. So we don't want people to be, what are we doing? Oh, we're here. We want people to be looking at these brave people, come to our event. Okay, one of our most important jobs is advertising our events, yeah, and getting people to come, obviously, or donate or do whatever it is, a call to action. What we don't want to waste our time doing is getting into arguments, wasting valuable time and energy. I think I'm going to move this inside because I think there's a storm coming. Excuse me just for one moment. Well, maybe be right for the moment. We don't want to be getting into arguments, wasting valuable time and energy. We haven't got time for that. So we don't want to get into blues with, vegans. We don't want to get into long-winded discussions with socialists. We certainly don't be wasting our time on climate deniers. Okay, so we don't waste our time doing that. That's way down the bottom of our list. We need to stay strong, stay calm, get on with it. All right. So who's our audience? Okay, so Extinction Rebellions as a direct action group obviously has to maintain our core. So we've got a core of people who are already doing stuff, existing rebels, Extinction Rebellion rebels and activists involved in allied groups, for instance, Frontline Action on Coal, Galilee Blockade, Stop Adani, all those sorts of people. So our core group is the people who are already doing things. And again, we can use those people as an example of heroic action and highlight the things that they do. Say, look at these guys, they're so brave. Gosh, look at them, we want to be more like them. We obviously don't want to alienate those groups. That would be bad. We want to build the movement out from there by engaging with other people who are aware of the problem. They're already afraid, they're already aware. The grannies, the kids, the dentists, your taxi drivers, everyone, people like that, nurses, miners. We want to get them to join. Presumably these people are already there, so we don't be preaching to the choir to these guys. We want to get the people who are thinking about it but haven't done anything yet. Another key audience for us, if we want to make change happen and shift that dial, are people like journalists, influencers, other local groups who might be doing some other stuff to do with climate or something like this. Local leaders. If you live in a country town, you'll find that there's often the 1 or 2 or 3 key people who do a lot of things and you're in a lot of groups. Corporations, you'd be surprised how many corporations are already doing stuff, especially in like the insurance world and all that sort of thing. Lobby groups, like for example, the Australian Institute, lobby groups that are already on side. There are some good lobby groups as well as some bad lobby groups. MPs, a lot of MPs are already sympathetic. Local councils, unions. So, and I'll talk a little bit about this, but Twitter is a terrific medium for engaging with these people, but you can also be doing stuff on Facebook by sharing their material, engaging with them, talking to them. And we need to push the bubble out into the broader community. So if we want to get that 3.5, we need to start pushing out into other areas where people haven't already been engaged. So using networks, actions bring successes and bring new members. So the more we can push out into actions, into networks, the more we can blow up our bubble. The people we're not interested in talking to, the people we can safely ignore, are the naysayers, the climate deniers, the dissenters, the splitters, the time wasters. Okay, so don't waste your time on those people. We don't need 100% of the population engaged. We need 3.5. So don't waste your time getting into an argument with the local anarchist group or, as I was saying before, vegans. I love vegans, nothing wrong with vegans, but don't try to be all things to all people and try to please everybody. You won't, you can't. Some people you can just ignore and say, thank you very much, and just ignore them. We did a market stall recently in Ballarat, and there was a fellow came up to the table and he wanted to tell us all about climate science and how we were horribly misguided, and it was all the UN plot and everything. And I just sort of looked into the distance and ignored him until he went away. Don't waste your time. Really, they just wear you out. Focus on the people we're interested in focusing on. And if you stick to the 3 demands, it's very hard to go wrong in your messaging, right? So messaging hierarchy, just to kind of sum that up. Number one, obviously, pretty obvious, advertise your upcoming actions. Okay, no point having an action if nobody comes. Celebrate successes and past actions. We want to inspire others to take action. We want to explain what we do and why we do it. That's important. We want to just encourage discussion of issues, but that's not our main job. A lot of people I find get this kind of backwards on their Facebook pages. They'll have a lot of this discussion of issues stuff going on and a bit of this and not much of that. So you kind of want to tip it up the other way because we're wanting to recruit, yeah? Discussion of issues is important. It's interesting, can be fun, but it's not our main game. Most of the people who are ready to join already sort of pretty much know a lot of this stuff. So don't waste a whole lot of time preaching about climate science to the choir. Okay, that's my main message there. Our messages, in case anyone still doesn't already know this, are the main three demands, which is tell the truth, act now, beyond politics. I am going to go inside. It's going to rain. And the rain will be drumming on the roof and you won't be able to hear me. So bear with me just for one moment while I come inside. It's going to pour and there's going to be, there you go. We're climate refugees. We're having to go inside. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's going to get too noisy. There we are. You can still see the garden through the window. Yeah, so tell the truth. Admit that there is a climate emergency. We want the government and the corporations to start telling the truth about the climate emergency. Stop pretending it's not happening. Stop pretending it's not serious. Act now. Beyond zero, net zero emissions by 2025 is our ask. A lot of governments are starting to talk about by 2050, which is too slow, but it's a start. We want the science says 2025. Act now, that means start acting, don't just say nice things, actually do it. And the third demand is the citizens' assemblies / beyond politics. So citizens' assemblies is a group of people, usually about 100 or so at a federal level, chosen at lot from the public by a process called sortition, which is complicated. I won't bother explaining that, but the idea is to grab people from different walks of life, different age groups, demographics, young, old, male, female, rich, poor, different cultural backgrounds and so forth, to make up similar to the idea of a jury in some ways. And they sit down and they consult with experts and they come up with a list of things to do. So we don't get into arguments with people when they say, oh, what's your big fancy solution? We say our solution is to get a citizens' assembly and they'll come up with the answers, okay? They've already got one in the UK, they've already got one in France. They've actually just recently handed down their reports. And the French government and the UK government have adopted some of the things on their list, which is a start. It's not everything we want, but it's a beginning. Hashtag, just in case people don't know what a hashtag is. I mean, hopefully you guys do, but just in case anyone's watching the recording and isn't quite clear what a hashtag is. If you put this hashtag symbol here in front of your key phrase and on social media, and people click on that, they can see all the other entries that have got this same hashtag. So if they look at that and they go, tell the truth, what do they mean? What do they mean? I don't understand. Click on that. They'll see a whole lot of other posts that relate to tell the truth. And they can go, oh, okay, that's what they mean. Oh, I understand. Some people make up their own hashtags to be funny, but yeah, don't do that. It'd be better if you would stick to the Extinction Rebellion sort of general hashtags. That'd be great. The ones we use for recruitment are Rebel for Life, or some people interpret that as Rebel for Life. That's okay. Join the Rebellion and Climate Emergency. So in an ideal world, most of your actions and your posts on Facebook or Twitter or whatever will have some connection with at least one of these sort of concepts. Sometimes they might have a couple, which would be great. Might say, act now, we want a citizens' assembly. I'll just get my water, hang on. Sometimes I get a dry throat from talking too much. Okay, so there are main demands, and whatever you're doing, you should kind of have some idea of connecting the back somehow to those three things most of the time. So we've come up with some specific messages for the Festival of Love and Rage in Melbourne. The key theme we're sort of working around is doing nothing risks, I can't even say it, doing nothing risks everything, which means we want to get a sense of urgency into the discussion. A lot of people you talk to say, oh, we're doing things, we're doing enough, we've got solar panels, we have to do more and we have to do it faster. So I won't bother reading all these out, but we've come up with a few key messages, and I will be able to send you out a link to some of this stuff later, so you can look over it later. But the sort of ideas we've been playing around with are some of the things we've been talking about: shifting the dial, urgency, governments have to get on with it, and so on. And I'll be doing a talk tomorrow about media spokes training and about how you can sneakily get these into your interviews. But these are the sort of messages we could be pumping out into our social media. Okay, if you're thinking, oh, I don't know what to put on Facebook, just pinch one of those and stick it up with your link about ScoMo or whatever it is. Okay, and I'll send a link round of a document with all of those written down for you later, so don't bother trying to memorize it. So social media platforms. Now, the main one that we use the most in Extinction Rebellion is Facebook. We do have Twitter and we do have Instagram. There's also TikTok. So all the social media platforms are quite different and they have slightly different focuses. So Facebook is your much more mainstream audience. Like most people have a Facebook page these days, okay? They might use it for posting pictures of their dinner or something, but most people have got an account. Well, about a third of the population, maybe a bit more now, has an account. Facebook has an exclusive feature called live streaming, and Facebook loves live streaming. If you do a live stream, it'll pop a little thing up saying so-and-so is going live now. Live streaming is a very handy feature of Facebook, and I'll be talking about that in a lot more detail a bit later on about how to do it and how to do it well. Twitter is great for reaching politicians and journalists. Your politicians and your journalists will always go straight onto Twitter to see what's breaking news. And we will be running a masterclass in Twitter later in the year. They've got a chap who's an absolute genius at Twitter, and he always gets people to follow him, and he breaks news and he makes things trend, and he goes crazy on the Twitter. You've got a very short 50-character limit in Twitter. You have to be brief in what you're saying, and videos no more than 2 minutes. Just bear in mind, we do have Twitter accounts, but those are the limitations of Twitter, but they are very good for reaching journalists and politicians. Instagram is very images based. So artistic, pretty, nice looking images are the sort of thing you want for Twitter. So if you have a fantastic image of the Red Rebels looking all romantic, or something very interesting graphically, that's very terrific for Instagram. We do have an Instagram account or two. I think we've got more than one. TikTok is a kind of an emerging thing, which is for a younger audience, tends to favor that one, and they like short, funny videos. Okay, I don't know whether we've got a TikTok account in Extinction Rebellion or not. Somebody may know, but I don't. I don't think we do. Maybe it's something we should look into. So if you're running a Facebook page, okay, so a few tips and tricks for running a good Facebook page. Ideally, you've got a team of at least 2 or 3 people helping run your page. Unless you're a very small group and you don't do much, but if you've got a group of any size, you need a couple of people helping, because it's a bigger job than most people think. And people can burn out doing the Facebook page on their own. We've had it more than once. So if you can get a team of at least 2 or 3 people helping, that'd be great. We've got about 10, I think, on the national Facebook page now, trying to spread the workload around. The national Facebook page is very busy. If you've got a Facebook group, you've got to have more than one admin. People have more than one admin. We've had situations in the past where someone set up a Facebook page, they've only got one admin, and then that person gets into an argument with people, or suddenly quits or changes their mind and doesn't want to do it anymore. We just completely lose control of the page. So you have to start all over again. So have at least 2 admins. Check your inbox every day. People will often inbox you. Look, sometimes it's abusive remarks, you know, but sometimes it's the media trying to get in touch, and sometimes it's someone sending you a fantastic link or a photo that you might want to share. So make sure you check your inbox at least once a day. Set up a messenger group, a Facebook messenger group, or a WhatsApp group, if that works better for you, to communicate with your Facebook team on what you're doing. Some people manage this via email, and it's really not very successful, because you're in Facebook anyway, you may as well use a messenger group. Keep your posts interesting and relevant to your group. So if you're running a group in, say, the Blue Mountains, you probably want to keep it to stuff that's relevant for your local area, because that way you'll get more views and people will be more interested in what you're doing. On the National Australian Facebook page, we try to post things of national or international significance as much as we can. Sometimes we'll highlight a little group action done by a local group or a local issue, but on the most we try to think that our audience is the national/international audience. You must space your posts out at least 2 to 4 hours a day on Facebook. Sometimes it happens, but try to avoid it. You don't just put up 1, 2, 3 posts all in a row and then just don't do anything for a couple of days. You're much better off to spread them out. And there's a thing called, because it works better with the Facebook algorithms, they'll tend to mark you down if you're just spamming people constantly. So don't post too much, spread them out a few hours apart. On the national page, we'll try to put up about 5 or 6 posts in a day, not too much more than that, unless there's something super exciting going on, like a whole lot of actions or something. Spread them out. There's a tool called scheduling that you can use if you're a Facebook admin. And I'll go into a bit of detail in a minute about how exactly to do that. But you can get 3 or 4 posts that you think are interesting, schedule them out for during the day, and that way you can relax. You don't have to be sitting on Facebook constantly. In fact, it's better if you don't, does your head in. If you've got a long read or a long video or something that's going to take time that you want people to look at, you're better off to put that on the weekend or the evening. Don't put it on in the middle of the day or at the peak hour, because people won't take the time. They just won't take the time to read it. You'll find longer reads will go better on the weekends or on the evening when people have got a bit more time, not while they're standing up on the train. Make sure you've got a bit of light and shade on your Facebook page. Okay, it shouldn't be all doom and gloom. It's a turn off. So if your Facebook page is just constant stream of bad news about the world's ending and the ice caps are melting and, we're all doomed, that's terrible. So try to have some good news every now and again. There's plenty of good things happening. Someone's opened up a big new battery, or someone's done something good, or someone's saved a bit of a rainforest, or someone's done something. Try to have some good news at least once in a while. If it's constant bad news, you'll turn people off and they'll just stop following you, and they certainly won't read it, because I do it myself. Sometimes some mornings I open up Facebook and I go, oh no, don't tell me something other terrible thing has happened. I just don't want to see it. You need a bit, like I was saying before with the emotions, a little bit of fear, a little bit of that's okay, but just use a bit of balance between light and shade. Highlight good news and heroic actions. So if somebody does something brave, absolutely put that up for all the reasons I was talking about earlier. You should include a call to join the rebellion, at least, every week or so, now and again. The link, https://ozrebellion.earth, ozrebellion.earth. If you Google Ozrebellion, you'll find it. So put that link up at least once a week or a couple of times a week or so on your page. So if somebody's done something brave, be like them, join the rebellion, something like that, yeah. Or something terrible's happened, you're scared, join the rebellion, all right? Original photos and original videos get much more looks than links to other people's material. If you can generate some original material, it'll go well. Facebook wants your material. They don't just want you to add a link to someone else's thing. They want you to post your original material. It's okay to share a link from an allied groups page. So for example, if Galilee Blockade does something brave, we'll share it up and say, good on you, Galilee Blockade, because that's building our networks. Like I was talking before, they love it when we share their stuff, and sometimes they share our stuff. And so that builds the networks and builds goodwill. But most of the time, an original photo, original video will get a lot more attention. Try to be funny once in a while. If you can find a cartoon, there's always a cartoon or something kicking around, a cartoon, any kind of humor. We had a great picture the other week of people all naked, people with their backsides, with painted on their backsides was gas lead recovery my ass. And it was hilarious and got lots of views, bit of fun. People love a bit of fun. Okay, and there's all sorts of statistics that you can check on your Facebook page, and I'm going to be talking about that, I think, in the next slide. Yes. See, the day after I did all these slides, they changed the Facebook interface. But I think the insights button's down the side now, but never mind. There's a thing called insights. If you can find it on your page, have a look at insights. And in insights, you can see all sorts of interesting things. For example, what is the peak time when most people are looking at your page? Okay. So you'll notice at 3 o'clock in the morning, for some reason, there's some people still up at 3. There's 20,000 people still looking at Facebook our page at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is the Australian page. It could be because we get some international people looking, or maybe not. The flat spot, you have a look at your page. It'll be different for every page. 6 o'clock in the morning, you can see it's a bit of a flat spot. Picks up again about the middle of the day. Another flat spot in the afternoon. Then it kicks up again in the evening. So have a look at your page. It's kind of interesting to see when your peak hours are. Things have changed quite a bit during COVID, but it used to be that the morning commuting peak and the evening commuting peak were the busiest times. That's when people are staring at their phones when they're on the bus or the train. Yeah, you've seen them all doing that. Over COVID, it's kind of flattened out a bit, and there's been much more of an uptick later at night because, I don't know, people are working from home, various different reasons. But good idea to have a look when your peak times are. And when your peak time is, that's when you put your most important story that you want the most people to see. So if you've got an exciting piece of breaking news, you want to advertise an upcoming action, whatever the most important thing, you want to get the most eyeballs, put it in the peak time, yeah? Facebook algorithms. So the mystery of algorithms. Now, there's people who are more expert than me about this, but this is your basic on your algorithm. So an algorithm is a computer program, for people who don't know what that is, that Facebook uses, and they use that to maximize the views. And sometimes they'll dampen down a post and sometimes they'll push it up. So if you learn how to work with your algorithms, you can actually get a lot more views on your page. One of the algorithms I mentioned before was they'll mark you down for spamming. So if you just go post, they'll mark you down. They think you're just spamming. So space your posts out. That's one early one I talked about before. Facebook wants the eyeballs and the time of their users because they're in business of selling ads, right? So the more eyeballs, the more people, the more ads, the more money they make. They want your eyeballs. So if you have a post that's going well, Facebook will push it up. Okay, because they want those eyeballs. If you have a post that's not going so well, it'll tend to go down. So you have this sort of, it's funny, sometimes it's hard to predict. You put up a post, you think it's terrific. Everyone just goes, meh, they're not interested. It sort of vanishes and disappears. Another one you put up, you think, oh, I don't know. But for some reason, it just gets picked up. It can just go crazy and it's a bit hard to predict. But it's because success breeds more looks and Facebook will raise those posts up. Facebook wants your material. They want you to feed them with material. As I was saying before, fresh videos, fresh photos will get more views. They always want fresh material. They don't want people to be bored. They want, because people always want news. It's a human thing to want novelty. If you give them novelty, you'll get more looks. It'll get pushed up. Facebook wants your money. Facebook is a business. They survive on advertising. If you pay for a post, I know it sort of goes against our moral values and everything, but if you've got something super important, you spend a couple of dollars, can be $30, can be $20, can be $50 on a post, you'd be surprised how Facebook will magically start pushing your posts up. So it's a bit horrible, might sound a bit immoral, but if you have a very important one, like recently I just spent $50 on boosting the join the pledge post nationally, because that's important. We want people to join the pledge, $50. And lo and behold, our numbers all started going up all of a sudden. Surprise, not just on the boosted post. So understanding that this is what Facebook wants will help you get a better idea of why some posts are going well and why they aren't. Okay. Yeah, this is an example. So a live video and a live photo will do so much better than just your average, links and things. You see that? This was Nanas facing court. I think that was an original photo as well. Plus it was also an interesting story about the Nanas. Original photos, original videos work every time. Breaking news, like something that's just happening now, will always go better. If you post up a link to a story that happened last week, it won't go well. If you post up a link to a story that's happening right now, it'll go a lot better. A, people are more interested, and B, Facebook favors it. This was one of our best performing posts in a long time. This is the national page, 134,000. We broke our own record for the last few months with that one. So that was an original exclusive Extinction Rebellion only photo. Somebody texted me that photo and I stuck it up. Nobody else had that photo. It was a breaking story that caused outrage sells. And it got international global interest. I actually flicked a link through to the international team and they started posting it internationally because they were interested in this story as well. So sometimes all the stars collide and you get a really successful post, breaking news, original photo that nobody else has got, international interest and national interest, and bingo. Now, interestingly, if you look at your stats on this one, most of the people who saw this one are the same number of most people who shared it. And they were either angry or sad. This is the outrage factor. Yeah. If you put something really funny, you'll often see, oh, there's the naked people. If you put something funny, you'll often see that the people who think it's funny will share it. This one's not funny. So, you know, I don't know who's laughing at this, presumably some, you know, forestry workers perhaps. But yeah, creating outrage can sometimes give your story a real boost. Obviously, you know, this sort of thing doesn't, thank goodness, this sort of thing doesn't happen every day, but just an example of the sort of thing to get a really fantastically successful post. So celebrating success. Yeah, this is the sort of thing I was talking about before, celebrating success. So a surprisingly positive piece on Sky News. So normally we're getting stuck into Sky News about being right-wing, you know, and not covering our stories, but they actually did cover our story. I had tagged them in this, but they removed the tag. Okay. But Sky News covered our story and they did quite a positive piece about our story. So be positive, surprisingly positive piece from Sky News. Great work, everyone. Good job. Join the rebellion. A few hashtags so that people can understand what it's about, because this was about gas. So people go, I don't know what they're talking about. So it's gas. If they click that, they'll understand a bit more about the issue. And of course, people took their clothes off. Nudity, people. Always goes well, a bit of nudity. So you can see that most people liked it and loved it. Okay, this post had only been up for about an hour, I think, when I took this snapshot of it. This one went really well. And people shared it. So the more people you can get to share, the better. That's fantastic. This is the one I was talking about before with the bottoms. Very successful post, bit of humor, an original photo that only a couple of other people had shared. I think Geelong, this is the Geelong crew did this little stunt. And I think the Geelong crew had posted this photo, but I quickly grabbed it for the national page. You can see it got a pretty good response. 57 shares, 3,000 people. I think it's doubled. I think it's about more like to about 10,000 or something now. But again, original photo, bit of humor, bit of fun, gets a lot of attention. This one, now I don't want to hurt the feelings of FLAC people. I'm sorry if there's no FLAC people, just think I'm being rude. But this is an example of a post that's not as good as it could be. There are two photos. And it's a bit hard to tell exactly what's going on there. Especially imagine if you're looking at this on your phone, it'd be really small, a bit hard to see. I would have, if it was me doing this, I would have cut this guy out, cropped this chap out, because that'd be very clear to see in native forest logging. And I would have just had a little bit of this so you could see he's up a tree. And I wouldn't have bothered with that photo because it's a bit hard to see what's going on. And the text is, see how this here, see how the text is spilled over the edge. If you can, ideally, you want to keep your text short so it doesn't spill. If you must put a heap of text in, that's fine, but make sure the most important bit is in the top and then other stuff is in the bit that's going to spill, if you understand what I'm saying. So this is, join us this weekend for the big canopy camp at Good. And then in addition to stopping mines from being built, it's a bit long. I would have taken the link to join and put it at the top and then put the other stuff down below. You see what I mean? It's not wrong, it's not broken, but it could be better. Yeah? Could be better, could be a little bit cleaner, could be a little bit simpler, could be a little bit shorter. Just an example. If you're going to use bad news, make sure it's with a call to action to recruit. So terrible news, the Barrier Reef's dying, you know, that's awful. With a call to join the rebellion now before it's too late. This post didn't go very well. Lots of sad faces. Not very many people looked at it. As I say, a lot of people will just scroll straight past something like that because they just go, oh, I don't want to see that. If you can put a positive spin on a news article, that usually goes a lot better. If you can find a positive news story, sometimes they're out there. Acting on climate can get us out of recession. Woohoo. Tell the truth, climate action is good for the economy. Okay, so that's a positive story. A positive spin plus outrage plus a call to action is exactly the sort of thing we're looking at. It's right up our alley, right? There's a better way beyond politics. This is how to get a citizens' assembly story in there somewhere. It's not always easy to find a story about that. This is a story by George Monbiot in The Guardian. In the UK, it's got a picture of an action, which is good. It's got XR stuff on there, which is even better. The system is broken. This is not democracy. Outrageous. Join the rebellion. Okay, so see that we're sort of ticking all those boxes that we're looking for with our messaging in a post like this, and it's got the recruitment in there as well. If again, this is people sailing a sailing ship over the North Pole to show that there's no ice. So it's a kind of a heroic action that these people did to draw attention to it, which is good. A bit of fear, time is running out. Bit of outrage, oh dear, you know, oh no. And a call to action. Not too bad, that one wasn't too bad. This is what we don't want. We're all doomed, the world's ending. I didn't really post this, I just made this one up as an example. I wouldn't really post something like this. The world's ending, major tipping points have passed, the governments are corrupt, we're helpless, we're all gonna die. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. You might feel that way, don't put it on your Facebook page. It's our job, one of our jobs is to keep everyone's morale up, yeah? Including our own, if we can. So if you're gonna use bad news, put it with a call to action. And don't do it too often. Okay, so just in summary about writing posts, be clear and simple, keep it short, small words, short sentences, don't get carried away with your own eloquence. Save it for essay, you know, save it for your essay. Short sentences, short words, clear and concise. Be active, not passive. For example, you say, we will, not we are going to, or we should. Be active in your voice. Always do a spell check, folks. Always double check your facts. If you make a mistake, there will be a smarty pants out there who will pick it up. So double check your facts. We want to maintain our credibility and our authority, yeah. If you're not sure, Google it before you post it and check your article before you post it, make sure it's correct, because they'll be right all over that, your users. Try to be positive rather than negative if you can. Say we can, not we can't, or we will, not we won't. You know, be positive and in your language. Pick one really good photo to illustrate your post, a big, strong photo. And if you have to crop it down to show the detail, like I was showing before, the other photo to get, so a picture should tell a story. And I'll be talking more about pictures in a little while. And you'll all get a chance to have a say then, so that'll be fun for you. So not sitting there passively watching there. Don't waffle on. If you've got a lot to say, just link to the article. Like, don't post 5 paragraphs out of an article. Pick one good paragraph and then a link, because if people are interested in finding out more, they'll find out more. Try not to spill, like I was saying before, try not to spill over the edge of your text, especially with the important stuff. Don't defame people, please. Please don't do that. Don't, tell lies about people, or, just watch what you say, because the last thing we need is a lawsuit. We've got enough to do. Try not to offend anyone, basically, if you can. Do your best. Even try not to offend meat eaters, okay? Try not to offend coal miners. There's no need. Okay, we're all in this together. So just try to be positive and not offensive to any group if you can avoid it. And don't try to cram too many ideas into one post. Just keep it simple. One idea, one post. Next idea, next post. If you try to cram too much in, it's just confusing to your viewers. Right, so when you have an action, getting the most out of it with social media, super important. And this is getting more into the practical end of things now. When you're designing an action, ideally, you'd hope, at the design stage, well, this often happens as an afterthought, but in an ideal world, at the design stage of your action, you've got the media team involved. So they can be going, okay, interesting. You're going to stand on one leg in Bourke Street. Interesting. I like it. How does this fit in with our media strategy? What does standing on one leg, what are we talking about here? Why are you doing that? Can we come up with a few words to describe why standing on your leg in the middle of Bourke Street is a good idea for an action? So the media team at the start, hopefully having some input saying, I think from a media perspective, it might be better if we did, this, or, help them with the design so it'll get the most media out of it. Quite often the media team's called in right at the end, and it's, well, then you just have to do the best you can do when that happens. It just happens. What can you do? What's the action about? How does it tie in with our messaging, like I was saying earlier? What is it you want people to do? Why are we doing this? Okay, so it's a good idea to have that at the start if you can, ideally, and have some like talking points like I was showing you before that your media team can use. Ideally, during an action, you'll have a media team of at least between 2 and 4 people. Right? If it's just a little one, you can get away with one. We do this thing in Ballarat in Sturt Street every Friday where we sort of walk across the road and hold signs up and stuff. And we can get away with that with just me with my phone. But if you're doing a larger action, you want a team of about 2 to 4 people at least. You want one taking videos, short videos, long videos, videos to keep. Short videos, like I was saying before, are great for Twitter, 2-minute videos, and you can also use them for all sorts of other things. You want someone taking photos. It would be great if you had the luxury of having a front person, someone to be being interviewed, someone to be being filmed, someone to explain what's going on. Say, well, hello, Facebook, we're here in Bourke Street today and we're doing this and we're doing that and we hate the coal industry or whatever it is you're doing. Someone to be a spokesperson, a front person. And especially if it's a really big action and you're expecting a lot of media, you want someone else on the phone, someone else doing the phone calls, because media will suddenly all ring up at once, yeah? And I've had situations where I'm doing the Facebook Live and my phone starts ringing because some journalist is trying to call me and just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. I have to break off doing the Facebook Live, answer the phone, go back to the Facebook Live. Ideally, you've got one person who's doing the phone, not the same person trying to do everything. If you can, if you've got that luxury. It depends how big the action is, how many people you've got to spare. And that's the person's name who goes on the media release, yeah? Even more ideal, if you've got the luxury, is to have someone who's doing what we call eye in the sky, which is someone at home, not running up and down the street, someone at home with their laptop who's watching the Facebook Live, who can be moderating the comments, who can be handling the phone, who can be there in case something happens and someone can't find the van or someone's locked in. They can be just there at home helping, doing things. Rather than the people who are actually running up and down, oh, I can't find him, he's up there, I saw him a minute ago, he's gone, oh, he's gone. Someone at home that you can find that they're doing what we call eye in the sky, a bit like, Charlie's Angels. Okay, that mysterious person in the background. If you've got one of those, that's fantastic. That's a good job for people who, for some reason, got a bad knee, don't like running up and down the street, whatever. They can be doing those sorts of jobs. Before you do your action, it's a great idea to have the media team at the action briefing. There's normally an action briefing. Good to have the media there. And at that action briefing, you ask if anyone doesn't want to be in the photos. There's often a reason why somebody doesn't want to be in the photos. They might be wagging school. They might be taking this as sickie from work. They might be with someone they're not supposed to be with. They might be somewhere they're not supposed to be. Check if they don't want to be in the photos, and if they don't want to be in the photos, tell them to stand behind you. Say, I'm the photographer, I'm going to be taking photos and videos or whatever. If you don't want to be in the photos, see me coming towards you, run away. Just get out of the way. You can't be always checking constantly with everyone, especially if there's a lot going on. Just warn them. Okay. Always do a Facebook Live of your action, and I'll be talking about it in a lot more detail in a minute. Take plenty of photos. And take 100 photos, you might get 3 or 4 good ones. Take lots of photos. People love to see themselves in the photos. Most people like to see themselves. So you can use them in your newsletter. You can use them on your Facebook. You can use them the following day. You can use them for next following actions. Take plenty of photos. People love to see themselves. You can post them into an album. People, they get a thrill. So don't be afraid to, just don't take one photo of your action, just take heaps. A couple of short 2-minute videos, very handy for Twitter, sometimes Instagram. Sometimes useful to send the media. And after you've done your action and you've done your post, you want to share it out to other groups as much as possible. If you did an action in Brisbane, you might share it to the, Cairns page or the national page or your local group or an allied group or your personal friends or various other groups. So if you share your posts out to other people, they'll get more likes, they'll get more looks. Facebook will push them up, as I was saying before. Hashtag your issue, tag other people. So you might tag, ScoMo or Josh Frydenberg or whoever you want to tag, depending on what the issue is. Sharing, hashtags and tagging will push your looks of your post up. This is out of order. How did I manage that? So scheduling posts. I was going to talk about that before. How to schedule a post. I'll look through this quite quickly. I've got these out of order. Sorry, my mistake. You go to a thing in Facebook called Creator Studio. If you're an admin of the page, you'll see Creator Studio. Now, I think it's gone down the side now, Creator Studio, but just find it. Go to the content library. Facebook will try to push you into this thing called Business Suite. Just ignore that. Go to Creator Studio, content library. Look at scheduled, and you can see what is on the schedule already for today. And then you can just, if you've got a big page with lots of admins, check the schedule. If you see there's a gap, create your post, add your photos, write your text, do whatever it is you're going to do there. Just a tip, and I see this a lot. If you're using a link to like a newspaper article, once you've pasted your link and you've got your preview, you can get rid of all this garbage. You don't need it. The image that'll all still stay. Just get rid of that. It looks very untidy. After you've created your post, you select this button that says later. Don't click this one because it'll just put it up in the next 10 minutes. Use this one, later. Okay. And then select your date and your time and hit schedule. You'll need to refresh. If you do it and you go, oh, it's gone, it's not there. Oh no, I've broken it. I have to do it again. Oh no, don't do that. Refresh your page and you'll see it. It's happened more than once that someone's put the same thing up 3 times because they thought it didn't work. If you've made a mistake, you can go in and edit. You can click on this again and open it and edit. If you've got a typo or something, you should check it. If you just go, oh, whoops, I've done this wrong, you can click here and reschedule it to put it back to a different date or time. So that's how to use scheduling. I must fix my slideshow up for next time so those are in the correct order. But yeah, scheduling. And there is help in Facebook to show you how to do all these things. Facebook moderation. Your job as a moderator is to create a safe and pleasant space for your rebels. We want good vibrations. I take a very strong view about Facebook moderation. Some people think, oh, we should let them have their say. Everyone's got entitled to opinion. It's democracy, that kind of thing. I don't agree with that. It's your job to be pretty tough on trolls and people who are just there to start a fight. In an ideal world, you have a team of 2 people doing day and evening moderating. Quite often at night is when you get fights breaking out. People sometimes have had a wee drink or 2. That's when you get your fight. So it's good to have a daytime and a nighttime moderating team if you can. Keep an eye on the comments. Do not hesitate to ban and delete abusive trolls. Just ban them. Don't put up with it because they're not there to help you. They're just there to be a nuisance. Ignore or hide comments that are sort of not very helpful or a bit negative. Just ignore them. You can hide them, which means they still see it, but nobody else will see it. And when people stop arguing with them, they'll usually give up and go away. Like or love positive comments, it pushes them to the top. Only reply very judiciously to comments. And if you do reply, say, yay, thank you, or yay, thank you, that's great, or something terrific. Don't get into an argument with your users. Whatever you do, just don't do it. Just ignore them if they're being naughty, or hide them. Do not get into an argument with them, just ignore them. And if a fight's broken out, you may need to step in as moderator and say, now, I think you're both right, don't fight, you know. If you're losing your temper, close the laptop and walk away. Don't lose your temper, whatever you do. If you've got another moderator, maybe ask them to take over if you're losing your temper. Always check the likes and invite the people who've liked to join your page. And check your notifications button. If you look at a particular post and you see that one post has got 58 comments, that's always a bad sign. It often means a fight's broken out. They're usually not all of them telling you what a great job you're doing. Happens sometimes, but very rarely. It's usually a fight. So check your notifications and it'll say 58 comments on this post. Think, uh-oh, that's a problem. When I do moderating and a fight is broken out on the page for whatever reason, it happens, I'll usually put up an image, usually this one. Sometimes if I want to be funny, I might put that one up. And this text. People are reminded that XR principles include respectful and non-violent communications, etc., etc. You can find this text on the web page and on the Oz Facebook page. Strongly suggest if you're running a Facebook page to use this text in your About section. Now, when you put a post up like that, the good thing about that is that all the trolls will jump on that post and start furiously trolling. They go, oh, I'm allowed to have my say, and I'm allowed to, you're allowed to have my opinion. Don't you want to have mine? Aren't you interested in the science? Blah, 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 blah. Right, they'll all jump on there. So then you can get them, just go ban, 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 okay? Most of your users will actually like that post and say, thank you for doing that. Thank you. I hate these trolls. They're really annoying. People hate the trolls. This is a terrific trick that I've learned over the years for getting those trolls. They will all jump on there. They will, every time. It's like sticky fly paper. So use that if a real fight's broken out. Building the page, as I was saying before, if you've got lots of people liking your post, you can click on that and you can get a list of all these people and you invite them to join. Yeah, simple but effective trick. Builds up your post, it builds up your page. Yeah, invite the likers. To create a Facebook event, I'll just be very quick about this because I think most people know how to create a Facebook event. You create your Facebook event, you pick a good photo, like I was saying before, at least a week or two in advance. But one trick that most people don't know about is that you can co-host to Extinction Rebellion Australia, Extinction Rebellion in your state. So if you're in Sydney, do it to New South Wales, etc. And Extinction Rebellion Grey Power. Now, don't invite, everyone in the whole world to your local meeting, but if you're having an action that you want to get more publicity for, if you invite it to these groups, you'll pick up more views. Grey Power's got about 30 or 40,000 viewers, and they're a very active mob, the grannies and the grandpas. So if you've got an action that you think might be suitable, to add Grey Power into it. They've got a big following. If you put it to Extinction Rebellion Australia, it will go on the web page. We have a web page with events and it'll go bounce with magic happens onto the web page if you co-host Extinction Rebellion Australia. You don't necessarily want every local meeting to be on the web page. I mean, be a bit judicious about it. The Blue Mountains, weekly cake stall doesn't necessarily have to go on the national page. So use a bit of judgment, but if it's an action of any kind of importance, add it to that and it'll go on the website. When you're naming your event, please put the location at the front of the event name like this. So Lismore, traffic action, Hobart, bike ride, yeah? Because when it's on the national page, people can't see where it is. Just makes sense to put the location at the front. And don't worry, someone will fix it if it's wrong, but it saves us a lot of time. Create an event and action network. It builds the database. Include the Facebook event in your link. You can put all that in your newsletter. Ask people to share it out with their friends. Okay, so you get a chance to join in and have fun now. Keep everyone awake. What makes a good photo? Okay, photos are super important in Facebook. As I was saying before, fresh content is the thing that drives Facebook. So taking a good photo is a very important thing, and there's a few tips that can make it a bit easier for you. So obviously we need a clear image. So you've got to hold your camera steady. I've seen people with their phone just like clickety, 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 click all over the joint, just taking, but don't do that. Put your elbows in, take a breath, take your time, get a good photo. Okay, and yeah, clean your lens. Give it a clean with your shirt or something if you can, or a cloth, because when it's in your phone and you're touching it with your fingers and all that, it'll get grubby. A good picture will tell the story. Where is it? What are we doing? What do we want? What are we here for? Why are we doing this? You want to get some close-ups with some emotions. Obviously, just check with people if you're going to take a close-up of them. Say, hey, you don't mind if I take your picture for Facebook, do you? Most people won't mind. Just double check. Lighting is very important. So sometimes you might be shooting into the sun or with the sun in the background or something. If you can just sometimes turn to the side, most people won't mind just turning to the side a little bit, just get a better angle. Move them over closer to the window or something, get them to stand under a street light, something like that. If it's an overcast night or day, you may need to enhance your photos a bit later. Sometimes we have this trouble in Ballarat because it can be very grey and cloudy and it's hard to get a good, nice shot. Sometimes I have to go home and just kind of brighten them up a little bit. Get some action, get some drama, go high. If you've got a selfie stick, that's great. But sometimes if you've got a big crowd, rather than take a picture of the back of everyone's heads, hold your camera up in the air. And you can sometimes get a good shot of the crowd if you just do that. If you've got a selfie stick, that's even better. When you're framing your photograph, watch your background. Try to get something interesting in the background if you can, and a sense of place where we are. If there's a logo on the wall, get them to stand in front of the logo so we can see where we are. Avoid rubbish bins and stuff in the background if you can help it. I mean, you can always crop things out later, but the less you have to do that, the better. Don't be afraid to give people a bit of direction. You know, you can tell the tall people to move up the back. You know, you can scrunch up a bit more. You can get someone to bob down in the front so everyone's not just standing in a line looking bored. Straighten out the banner so it can be read. Everyone, look up here. Everyone say 1, 2, 3, click. So everyone's looking at you. Yeah. A lot of people think the photograph should look sort of natural and like it just happened by accident. No. That you get a lot of people standing around looking a bit bored. You don't want that. You want a terrific photo. Now you can all turn your sound on because I'm going to give you a chance to join in and have fun now and tell me about the photos and what do you think is a good photo? What do you think is a bad photo and why? So what do you reckon about this one? This one got in the newspaper. What do you reckon about this one?
A beauty.
It's a beauty. We can see there is a lot going on, but we can see sort of the middle is where the action is, and there's kind of a lightness in the middle there that gives you, and it shows you how many police it takes to carry someone off the road.
Yeah.
Andy actually got done for resisting arrest, but you know, personal choice if they want to do that. So it's dramatic. This guy used a selfie stick to get up there and take that photo. So yeah, this is one of my outtakes. So why is this awful?
Got no focal point really. It's got competing text. It's got too much building. It's got too much going on.
Yep. Terrible. Go on.
As well.
Yeah.
People are just sitting around looking a bit bored.
Why are these people sitting on the grass? I don't know. I thought I could maybe crop this lady out perhaps, you know, and get a decent photo. But there's a shopping bag here. There's this lady's in the bag.
Yeah.
That's rubbish, yeah. And this boring grey back. No, that's just awful, right? So you don't do that. If you do take a photo like that, that's all right. Just delete it. This one went nuts on Facebook.
Bride and bird, don't fry my kids.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Cool. So hokey, love it.
Yeah, it's the sort of homemade signs.
Frying pans.
Yeah. You can see where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, it's pretty obvious where we are. And we did actually ring the doorbell. but they didn't answer. Rude. 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 The little bit of humour, the funny faces, they're just two ordinary ladies, and you can sort of say, well, I could do that. Anyone could do that.
Opposed against all that pomp and circumstance of the sign. It's pretty funny. It's
Yeah,
taken
it's funny.
iconoclastic.
And there's just something very engaging about these two ladies just rocking up to Fridays with their frying pans, you know. It's just funny. Humour, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, this is a shocker. Another one of mine. One that I just deleted. Well, I didn't delete it, but it's just there. Why is this awful?
I don't know, too much going on, and there's not a lot of focus. Somehow.
Bad composition. Composition's bad.
I think also the fact that no one's looking at the camera, like
Mm-hmm.
They're not that.
they're all looking in different directions.
Yep. Why are these people in the car park?
Doesn't say.
Don't know. Did they just decide to all stand in a car park for some bizarre? We don't know. We don't know what they're doing. Can't read the banners.
No.
Yeah. I see a lot of photos like this. Don't do that. This, on the other hand, was on the same day. This is a beauty.
Wow.
What's going on here?
Oh, that's fabulous. Look at that woman. She's having a go at Frido, and he just doesn't know where to look. And he looks so tidy, and they're just going, yeah, whatever. It's good.
There's all these people chasing him. This was an ambush. They were chasing him. He was going to a conference or something. This is Rebel Audrey. This was actually a Stop Adani grey power kind of action, does about it. And you can see the sign, what are we leaving? And they know why, you know why they're there.
Yeah. Was that a
And
sign, or was it superimposed?
No, she's holding up a sign. See, there's a stick there. Yeah.
And a hand
Action.
in front, like someone's even at the front trying to get him
Yeah.
to say something. Like they're really,
Yeah.
really urgent.
Yeah, we chased him from his car park to get into the conference or something. I don't know where his security was. They obviously weren't there that day.
He's wheeling his own bag.
We weren't going to hurt him. We just wanted to get that photo, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Scomosaurus, Frydenbergsaurus, Angusaurus.
Angusaurus, yeah, Angus Taylor. So this is more fun, yeah?
Yeah, that's great.
A good prop.
There's Audrey again.
There's Audrey again. Love a good prop.
Well, you've got your animals.
And
Well,
they're
Yeah.
extinct, which is nice. Of course, we're
And
extinct.
also see how he's tilted the camera a little bit to the side?
Mm.
So it's not just flat.
Mm.
It just gives it that little bit more excitement.
Well, it makes the building at the back look as though it's straight. So it's not also, that can also be disconcerting when you've got things all over the shop. But he's
Yeah.
lined, or she has lined the building at the back. So he's got, or she has got it all in. But
This
he's-
is probably, this looks to me like a Julian Mean photo. He's a professional. He takes a lot of terrific photos.
Mm.
But yeah, one of his tricks is to turn his angle a little bit on the side, just to make the photo a bit more interesting than all being square.
well, he manages to get a hell of a lot in.
Yeah, that's a good trick.
Mm.
And again, a bit of fun, costumes, a bit of humour. You can see what it's about. You don't know exactly where it is. It looks like Parliament House, or it looks, I don't know where that is. It looks like Treasury Gardens or something. Anyway. Now, there's a lot going on in this one, and this one has actually been photoshopped a bit, but never mind. Yeah, these. I think these kids have been added in later, but most of it's for reals.
Mm.
This is another Julian Mean photo, and he actually climbed up on a tram stop to get this one.
It creates a sense of youth and numbers and synergy. Yeah.
Excitement, vitality. Even though there's a lot going on, it's got a better composition. There's sort of a clear focus in the middle of the photo, yeah?
Yeah.
bright colours, big smiles,
Nice dinosaur.
nice dinosaur. So that one's just kind of, it's all right. It's not a disaster.
Because they're good signs.
Yeah. Can't see that. You can see where it is. At least a couple of people looking at the camera. Yay. But
Got
it's
your
not.
logo.
Look at the logo. It's not awful. I would use it. It's not a terrible photo.
Yeah, it's great in the middle. You know, like if you cut up, if you made it more like a landscape. You know,
It's okay. Meh. This is better. Okay.
That's great.
Now this is Julian again. Julian does this. Now Julian's got a sneaky trick that he does. He'll get down a little bit underneath someone. See how he's looking up? Don't be afraid to get down on an angle. You don't have to take every photo like this. Get down, look up. And again, he's got it on a bit of an angle, so this is not all straight. And one of Julian's tricks is he'll say, "Give us your heroic face." He'll just say, "Look brave."
Yeah.
And he gets great photos. He used to be a wedding photographer. So he's quite used to running around and trying to make everyone look gorgeous and giving people a bit of direction. So he'll just say, "I want you to look heroic." Yeah, shooting up sometimes can give them people that sort of heroic-y look. And again, he's got an angle going on here. It's not all just flat right angles.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of pro tips for you there.
That's great.
How could we do better here? This is not a professional. This is just an amateur photo. How could we make this better?
The guy.
You crop it.
Yeah, what's this guy doing here? What's the point? We're not looking at the camera. You know, I don't know.
Heroic, but
I don't really know what they're doing. Okay. So this is better. Again, if you pulled it out and went into the landscape, you could maybe see where it was. You maybe could have a couple more people around. It's better. And this photo actually went really well on Facebook. They got a lot of views on that one. It's much better. I'm going to escape now because we're running out of time. Get in close, get the faces, get the emotions. This is good because these little brave little Marco talking up to this cop here and he's trying not to laugh. It's quite a cute, engaging photo. This is a night photograph taken at night. And I actually sat and watched Julian do this and actually lightened up this area to make it lighter and brighter because nighttime can be a bit challenging. You see how he's got the signs people are holding them at different angles. They're not all standing in a line holding their signs, all standing in a row. I've seen too many photographs like that. It's all animated, they're all singing.
And the focuses are everywhere. It looks very...
But at the same time, you have got this strong composition in the front.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to move on because we're going to run out of time. Light, bright, heroic.
Honk Mars.
Tells the story.
I think.
You can see we're standing on the road. You can see there's a banner. And the policeman came out and helped us. There's about 3 or 4 police turned up. And they said, "Oh, all right, well, we better help you with the traffic management or someone's going to get hurt." So they just came out and helped us.
On them.
Yeah, well, it was either that or call the right squad or something. They thought, "Oh, okay, all right."
Yeah.
That was a fun one. So some really quick basic photo editing skills. So I took this picture in Ballarat. I said to Edie, "Can you drop your flag down a bit? It's got a nice background and stuff." I said, "Oh, all right." So she dropped her flag down. I said, "That's beautiful. Now, can you look at the camera?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay. All right." Look at the camera. Nice. All right, good. Good start. It's overcast. It's raining.
Yeah.
So I punched up the color and the contrast and the brightness, and I cropped out all the bits I don't need. You don't have to be a genius to do this stuff. And there you go, your nice little picture for your next action. Yeah. Easy peasy. Anyone can do that. You don't have to be a professional, wonderful photographer like Julian. All right, Facebook Live. Now, I think this is the bit that most of you guys are most keen on doing. So I'm going to give you some Facebook Live tips. Important stuff. Tip number 1, charge your phone the night before. I've seen people turn up to gigs with a phone that's on the quarter full. Your phone will last an hour if you're lucky. If you've got a good phone with a good battery, it'll last 1 hour without needing a recharge. Get a battery pack. See these little guys here? Get one of them. They're not cheap, they're about $100, but they're also handy if you're going holiday and camping or something. Get one of these, have it in your pocket, have it plugged in before you start. Because you know when your phone's going to go flat? Right at the most exciting moment of your video, every time. Plug it in, set it up, battery pack in the pocket, ready to go, okay? Very important. Prepare the text of what you're going to say well in advance. I usually do this like when I'm on the tram or something on the way to the event. It takes longer than you think. So get your text ready early. Don't be juggling around with your phone while you're trying to, and the action started, you're like, oh, I'm not ready. Do it beforehand. If you haven't got any text and the action's starting and you go, oh no, I forgot, just start and you can fix the text up later. Don't miss the start of the action juggling your phone around. Hold your phone always, every time, horizontal. Never do a video this way. Just don't. If you do the video up this way, and I see it all the time, it's really hard to see what's going on. So I can't see. There's something going on, but I can't see. It's like peeking through a keyhole. Alternatively, the person filming has to move their camera around all the time so they can get the action in. If you put it this way, you can get all the action in. And you don't have to be like this, trying to get the action. Plus, it looks better on a laptop. You don't have this grey space down each side. It fills up the whole screen.
But often people are doing it sideways. So how do you correct for that?
Do it this way. I'll explain that in a minute. Do it this way. It looks better on the laptop. You can see it on the phone. You can blow it up full size and you can see what's going on. With this, this is awful. Do it this way. I'll explain about portrait lock in a second. What often happens is people have got their portrait lock turned on and they have to turn it off. I'll explain that in a minute. Hold your phone. While you're doing it, keep your elbows in. A, it helps keep it steady. B, your arms don't get tired. So keep your elbows close to your body. It's also not a bad trick if you can find a rubbish bin or a lamp post or something you can lean against. It helps keep it steady and it helps keep your arms from getting tired. Start your video with an interesting shot. Okay, I see too many Facebook Lives that start with a picture of people's feet, picture of the footpath, back of people's heads. And the person doing it goes, oh, yeah, hang on. Oh, we're going to start the live. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm not ready. Oh, what's happening? Nothing's happening. Oh, I'm going to start. Don't do that. Take your time. Get a good shot. Now, sometimes, like we had the dinosaurs and sometimes we were doing stuff at front. I got all the dinosaurs to line up in a row. I said, okay, dinosaurs, you ready? We're ready. We're going to start the Facebook Live. And you start the Facebook Live with the dinosaurs. So they've got an interesting image to start with. Some people will be fairly patient with waiting for 5 minutes while you get over yourself and stop taking pictures of people's feet. Most people will just scroll straight past and you'll miss, they're gone. If you don't have the luxury of having, dinosaurs, you can grab anyone, and somebody chatty, grab them and say, hey, mate, or darling, or John, or Joe, whatever. Hey, so-and-so, can you come and stand here and hold your sign up and talk to Facebook about what's happening today? And they're like, oh yeah, all right. So get them lined up and ready. Then you start your video and they'll do the talking for you. They say, oh, we're in Sydney today and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're here because we think gas is bad or whatever it is. So start the video with something interesting, whether it is, if you've got some great props, start with those. Or someone you can grab to be a spokesperson, do that. Don't panic and just start. Just get it set up, take your time. A good opening shot, super important to keep your viewers interested. Get the whole action. Don't stop and start. If your action goes on all day, obviously that's probably a bit too much. But if your action only goes for half an hour, just keep filming. Okay, it's annoying when people go, oh, stop, do for 15 seconds or 20 seconds and then stop and start. Don't do that. Super annoying. Facebook Live is an exclusive Facebook thing. People love it. They like to feel part of the action. It's exciting. So if you can just keep filming the whole time, again, with the battery pack. If it's been going on for an hour or 45 minutes or something and your arms are getting tired, feel free to just, take a break and say, well, we'll be back in a little while with some more action later. But if your action only goes for half an hour, get all of it. Go for it. Commentate a little bit, not too much. Okay, so if you have a spokesperson, that's fantastic. You can just film them doing all the talking. If you don't have that luxury, you'll be there with your phone and you'll be saying, well, for everyone joining us, we are in Bourke Street and we are part of the Rebel Rhythm Parade. And today we're going to be walking down Swanson Street and we're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing that. And we're doing it because, tell them why you're doing it. Otherwise people will be wondering why we're here. So you may need to repeat this a couple of times. So for people just joining us, because once your video starts, you might find that in 10 minutes later, you've suddenly got a whole lot of new people joining. And they'll be commenting, where is it? What are we doing? So, so for people just joining us, we're today in Bourke Street. We've got the Samba Band. We're part of the Festival of Love and Rage. We're going to be walking down to South Bank today. We're doing this because we want to draw attention to the climate emergency, blah, 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 blah. You may need to repeat that a couple of times. Do not yell into the phone. Some people get very, very excited and they get a bit carried away and they're shouting into the phone and it makes it almost unwatchable. Your microphone's at the bottom of the phone and you're here with the phone quite close to your face. And if you're yelling, it's very off-putting to your audience. So don't shout. Speak in a normal voice and just let people know what's going on calmly and informatively. I've seen some videos where there's no talking. This is kind of weird, eerie silence. And there's all these things going on and you've got no idea why. So a little bit of commentary is great. During the flat spots of the action, like you say, oh, I'm going to come back to you later after a static break, I'll come back to you later. You might take a couple of little 2-minute videos if you've got nothing better to do, or take a few photos. If it's just you in the team. Move around very slowly. Okay, so just move around slowly, walk slowly, move your camera slowly, slowly. Don't be doing this, okay? It makes everyone at home feel really sick and nauseous if you wave your camera around like that. Just very gently, keep your elbows in, move around slowly. You might be very excited, but from home, it'll look a lot better if you don't wave your camera around wildly, okay? Just take your time, relax. Get up the front. This is history. I've seen live videos of someone making a speech and the person doing the live is maybe a bit shy or something and they're standing up the back and all you can see is the back of people's heads and you can't hear the speech. Okay, so get up the front. You've got the camera. Be polite. Obviously, don't be rude. But you've got a front row seat to history and all the people at home have got a front row seat to history. And this might be the only record of your event that ever happens. Get up the front and get those shots. Don't get in the way of the professional photographers. Like, if you've got the professional journalists trying to get in there and take a shot, don't all they can get of the shot is you. So be polite, be fair, work nicely with the other photographers because they'll be wanting to get those good shots as well, yeah? Or within reason, get up the front. Do a few interviews. So if there's not much going on and there's a lot of people sort of standing around, you can be like, well, I'm here to, would you like to talk to Facebook? Hey, do you want to have a word? What brings you out here today? If you had one thing to tell the Prime Minister, what would it be? Or it could be something as simple as, what does your sign say? Or, hey, look at this outfit. Did you make it? You can ask them anything like that. I find the banner holders are the best people to interview. Banner holders are great because they're often standing there forever to be bored and they can't run away. They're stuck. So if you go up to one of the banner holders and say, hey, do you want to say something to Facebook? And they might say, no, in which case, no problem. You just go to the next banner holder because they'll probably be fine. And you say, what brings you out here today? What does this mean to you? Why is it important to you? What would you tell the Prime Minister? They'll go. Most of them will just go. If they're banging on a bit too long, sometimes people get a bit carried away. If they're banging on a bit too long, you can just go, oh, that's lovely. Thank you very much. I've got to talk to a couple of other people, but thank you very much. and go and do someone else, because sometimes they get a bit chatty. So, you know, a minute or two is fine. A couple of minutes, a few minutes.
Few swear words.
Yeah, sometimes people swear, it happens. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Make sure that, oh yeah, this is important. Make sure the person you're talking to is speaking as clearly as possible into the phone, especially at the moment when people are wearing masks. Your microphone's at the bottom of your phone. So you may even have to tilt or hold the phone a bit closer to them so we can hear them, especially with masks. So make sure we can hear them. I've seen a few Facebook videos where people are standing far apart, as they should, and someone's wearing a mask, and all you can hear is, so you're wasting your time. So even if you have to stretch your arm out with the thing a bit towards them like that, so we can hear them, otherwise you can't hear them, especially with masks. If someone's squinting into the sun or their face is in darkness or something, don't be afraid to just kind of move around a bit to the side. They'll follow you, they will. Because it's awful watching someone squinting into the sun like that. And it's awful for the person. The show must go on. If you make a mistake, don't panic. I have bumped into poles. I have dropped the phone. People have said swear words. All sorts of weird stuff can happen. That's kind of the fun of live streaming, is this, you never know what quite to expect. Yeah.
When you accidentally turn it around and it's in your face.
Oh, look, it happens. Things happen.
So
We're
funny.
not professional cinematographers. We're not Martin Scorsese. We're not pretending to be. So if you make a mistake, just laugh and go, oh, whoops, I just dropped the phone. And just keep going. Don't panic and stop the video. It can be all part of the fun when something crazy happens. Now, if you're not sure, and if you're going to make a Facebook Live and you haven't done it before, have a practice at home. So you can make a live stream to your own Facebook page. You can always delete it later if it's a disaster, don't worry about it, but just do it to your own page just for fun, and do it a couple of times. Like you can be like, I'm here tonight with so-and-so, my husband or my wife or whatever, and they're cooking dinner. What's for dinner tonight? Would you like to tell Facebook what's for dinner tonight? And do an interview with them and say, I see. And now we have the ingredients here. And there's the, do a practice and watch it over a couple of times. And if you want, you can just delete it. Doesn't matter. If it's great, keep it. But do a couple and do it live so it feels real, because it can be quite nerve-wracking. You want to have a bit of a practice before you go to big school and do it at big school. So have a practice with your own one just at home. Oh, so here's my son in the garden playing with the puppy. What's the puppy's name? You know, you see what I'm saying? For people just joining us, we're in the backyard playing with the puppy. Okay, have a practice. It's good. It's a good idea. Yeah, don't do this. Right, so this is what happens when we have portrait lock. So on your phone, there's a thing called portrait lock. Your phone should change the image when you turn your phone sideways or tilt it towards you. If it's not moving, you've got portrait lock on. Okay, so look up portrait lock in the help, because different brand of phone will have different ways of turn portrait lock off. Before you start your videos, make sure that it's actually tilting sideways. Portrait lock, turn it off. Have a practice at home. Make sure you don't want this. This is the worst. Finishing touches. After you've done your video, you can actually go home and you can fix a few things up if you've messed something up. So on your live stream, you've made a live stream, if you didn't have time to write any text, or if you've got a typo, you can fix it later. Just go to the video, open it, edit it, fix your text up if you've made a mistake or you thought of something better to say that you could think of at the time to say. You can pick a nice thumbnail. Facebook will automatically choose something usually in the middle of the video. It might be a block of concrete, might be a lamppost. Find a nice image that sort of sums up what your photo is and select a different thumbnail. You can also clip out the best bits, make a clip out of your video. Like if there was a really good bit, you can make a clip of it. You can use it later. So there is some finishing touches you can do. Don't just put it up there and go, oh, well, it's done now. Nothing more I can do about it. You can actually go back in and edit it. Again, have a practice with the one you do at home just for fun, just so you know how to do that. Okay. Oops. Yeah, I'm whizzing through this. This is about tagging other groups and making sure there's a call to action. This one was a great video, and it was a bit of a shame because it only went on for 44 seconds. There was no commentary. There were these lovely ladies dancing, which was great. And the video itself was fine, but it was only 44 seconds. And we don't really know why. Don't really know what's going on here. So get a longer video, get the whole action, tell us what it is, tell it why, tell us what's going on. And if you can have a spokesperson explaining what you're doing, that makes a much better video. This one was a lot better. This one was someone who came to my training course and did a better job. They started off with, there's Marco here, they started off the video straight away with Marco saying, well, we're here today in Northcote and we're doing this and we're doing that and this is why we're here in gas-led recovery, blah, 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 blah. Then they moved away for him and actually showed the actual action as it was going on. They got the whole thing, interviewed the banner holders, did all that. And the description explains what they're doing and why they did it. And that's the thumbnail, which is a good thumbnail to start with. See?
That was a swarming.
Yeah, traffic swarm, yeah. They were going across the intersections. So they followed them across the intersections all around. But the start of the video is Marco explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it at the start. Start with a good image. Don't start with a bunch of people standing around looking confused and not knowing what to do. Set your video up for success. Keep pushing it out there when you get home later on in the day, following day. Push it out, share it out like I was saying before. If you've got something really terrific, you can share it to the International Extinction Rebellion page. You never know, they might pick it up if they think it's really good. That can really push your post up. Ask your friends to share. Don't be afraid to put a comment saying, if you like it, share it. Ta-ha. Like the shares, share the likes, do all that, push it out, share it to other groups, get it out there. Phew, 3 o'clock. I hope we've got time for questions before the thing cuts out. I think I might have gone a little bit over time.
In your phone, do you find that portrait lock? Is it in the camera or is it in Facebook?
I've got an iPhone. Have you got an iPhone? If you, on an iPhone, if you swipe up.
Yeah.
Hang on, got to turn off the thing. If you swipe up.
Settings?
Swipe up. Just look up the help. There's a help.
And it's not doing it.
Yeah, search portrait lock. Have a look later.
And it's on the phone, not Facebook. That's what you're saying.
Oh, it's on the phone. It's a phone setting.
That's all right. Okay.
So it'll be under settings, phone, something or other.
Thank you.
It's definitely the phone. If you're not sure if you've got portrait lock on or not, you should be able to open a photo, tilt the phone around and the photo will move.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you've got portrait lock on.
I think I might have fixed it then. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Okay, Yara and Rika have raised a hand. Yes.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, in terms of the original photo, if you've, say, got, like, uploaded the photo already onto Facebook in the past, but then you, like, use one of those photos for a post, is that going to be worse than using a new photo altogether that's never been on Facebook?
Yeah, okay. There's a sort of a hierarchy. So a photo you've used before is fine. If you don't have a brand new one, use an old one. That's fine. A brand new one would be better. I don't think Facebook algorithms are clever enough to pick up that this is a photo that's been used before. They might be. I wouldn't put it past them. A brand new photo is better. An old photo's better than a link. So if I'm advertising an event, for example, I'll put the link to the event with a photo, even if it's the event photo, because it will get more looks. But original photo is better, but if you haven't got that luxury, use an old one, it's fine.
Cool, thanks.
Any other questions? Just yell. Hang on, I'll turn the, I just want to explain, I'll just turn the share off so I can see you all. There we go. Who's got a question?
I'll just point out just about the book, like Naomi Klein, and she's talking about logos, the importance of logos. So that's sort of related to what you're talking about, the photo, the image, you know, capturing the, you know, the artwork or whatever. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it just works with Facebook algorithms for reasons that are mysterious. Yeah, we use all the same marketing tricks that those naughty marketing people use to sell you, you know, alcohol, cigarettes and motor cars. So if it works for them.
Good instead of evil.
Sorry?
Good instead of evil.
That's right. We use our powers for good instead of evil, just like Maxwell Smart. Okay, I think the wind and rain has died down. I can go back outside again. Because the light's a bit weird. It makes my hair look weird. We don't want that.
With that.
That's
Been
what else?
fantastic. Is it possible to use this for our regional groups as well? Like if you've got a video?
Yes, I'm recording this. Hopefully the recording works out okay. I'm going to refine these slides. I think there's some slides that don't really need to be in this, or maybe they do.
Okay.
And they're in the wrong order, which I have to fix.
It was really good. Thank you. Really helpful.
That was wonderful. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
No more questions?
I was at an action this morning that was complex and opted out of doing a live video because there was no, I was invited in at the last minute and it was just never going to work. So what I did was take photos and thought I could create a narration and put them as a PowerPoint and turn it into a movie instead and use all those principles, but actually produce it rather than putting up. I just think some of the doing it badly kind of wears down the quality of for everyone. So
Well, now you've got a few tips. Have a practice, like I was saying,
yeah,
and you'll feel more comfortable. It's not as hard as you think, but those few tips I've given you, that will really help a lot, I think.
yeah. Well, even with the one doing it post-production, you know, like doing the way
Yeah.
that I am will help. Yeah.
Look, that's better than nothing.
Images were
Uh,
great, but the
Facebook will push Facebook Lives up way ahead of anything else because it's their exclusive thing.
okay. So potentially one could do a live launch of it and put it, you know, put it in as a link.
All sorts of possibilities. All sorts of possibilities.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Are we all good? I know a couple of people have got to go. All right, then I'm going to stop the recording. Hopefully this will work and I'll be able to send out a link to you later on and I'll send you out the slides and things as well.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye. See you, everyone.
Well,
I can get out of this. I can do it.